HyperLiquid is arguably the most successful crypto project to come out of the entire crypto industry other than Bitcoin in the last 5 years. In this video, I'm going to go over realistic price predictions. Yes, we are going to get into the weeds, metrics, going over profit, and where we could project that during 2026, where does HyperLiquid land? It's one of the only altcoins that's actually performing well in this current market. What can we expect by the end of this year? And what could 1,000 HyperLiquid tokens look like in your portfolio at the end of 2026? We're going to jump into that and more. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, guys, be sure to drop down below, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more every single day here on In the Game. We have you covered top to bottom to make sure you are fully ready for the next bull market in crypto, and even taking advantage of the bear market to the best of your ability. Also, a big shout out to all of our sponsors down below in the description: Gravity. We also have Kalshi and some others. Check out our sponsors down below in the description. And let's just go ahead and jump right into the meat of this video. As I mentioned, when you look at the metrics of some of these top tokens, right now we did see Bitcoin kind of take a little jump up to 70K this week. And one of the only mainstream altcoins that is doing really anything, if we filter by the 7-day chart, is HyperLiquid. We see Pi, which I don't really see any buzz about on the timeline, really, up 36% this week. We see HyperLiquid up 22%. Also, we do see Tau up 16%, which I also like. Tau will probably have a video similar to this one going over Tau here in the near future. But this HyperLiquid chart is really telling a story during this market. And I think, every single time this thing takes a run, it really has strong momentum. So why is this occurring? And also, when you see price predictions like Arthur Hayes flying around the timeline saying that HyperLiquid could hit $150 by August. Now, that's a crazy prediction considering we're sitting at $37 here, March 12th, 2026. I'm going to give actual metric-driven predictions in this video as to where you could expect the HyperLiquid token, whether you hold 10 hype, whether you hold 100 hype, or whether you hold 1,000 HyperLiquid tokens in your wallet. Is Arthur Hayes absolutely a maniac for this prediction, or is he kind of on basis? We're going to go over that in this video. And I did pose the question today on Twitter, why buy ETH in 2026 when you can buy HyperLiquid? And that's actually so true. If you look back over the last 5 years and you held Ethereum, you're actually underwater. Whereas if you've just held stuff like HyperLiquid, which has proven itself from a product market fit perspective, you are well in profit over the course of time. I mean, this thing airdropped. A lot of people got this token for free, but it is not too late to buy HyperLiquid. I see this all the time. Before we jump into the nitty gritty, the numbers, and really my price prediction in the future, we can look here. Hype Economist shows the on-chain data says it all. You are not late to HyperLiquid whatsoever, even in the 30s. Even myself, I started buying HyperLiquid probably mid-summer last year at about $25, $27. I have no shame in that being my entry, right? Only 50,000 wallets currently hold 10 or more hype tokens. So in perspective, 4 million wallets hold $400 or more in Ethereum. And on Solana, 2 million wallets hold $400 or more in Sol. So 10 HyperLiquid right now would about equal that $400 mark. It is crazy, but only 50,000 wallets currently hold just $370 worth of HyperLiquid tokens. So if you are thinking you are late to this token, do not think that. This is going to continue to be one of the most successful projects in crypto. And why am I so confident in that? Let's go ahead and dive right into the numbers. And of course, first and foremost, what is HyperLiquid? HyperLiquid is the everything on-chain decentralized exchange, or in the crypto landscape, if you are new or just looking into projects in crypto and maybe you're a traditional investor, this is basically the all-in-one investment platform on-chain. So it is not like a Coinbase where it is a centralized exchange. This is no KYC. You don't have to give any information. You can utilize this just using a crypto native wallet. You basically custody your funds. It's one of the most seamless experiences in all of crypto. You can trade stocks, you can trade crude oil, you can trade gold, you could trade crypto. I mean, there's an endless amount of assets here. Tesla, Nvidia, Palantir, Google. You can see here just the list of assets in the traditional realm. And then we come over here on the all chart, and you could just scroll for days as far as what you can trade on HyperLiquid. You can also stake your tokens. You can get into pools where you earn APR based off a certain investment strategy. There's so many different things that you can do on HyperLiquid specifically. And when we look at HyperLiquid from a business perspective, and I think this is what's going to come down to when we put together our price predictions here in this video, is HyperLiquid at this market cap is so undervalued versus what they are doing from a profitability perspective. Let's just move back over here to the HyperLiquid metrics. We can see here fees annualized are $747 million. So look, this at this point is almost all profit. And we'll talk about why this matters for the token here in just a second. Over the course of the year, they're on pace to do $747 million. Okay. And also, we're going to compare this to an investment giant in the traditional landscape and show you just how ridiculous these numbers are. Revenue annualized about $663 million. We can see here on the 30-day timeline, they have done $3.7 billion in transactions. The perp volume is $178 billion. So the DEX volume, that's just spot transactions. The perp volume, so this is leverage trading, they've done $178 billion over the course of this month. A lot of this is off the backs of what's going on between Iran and US and the fact that crude oil has been absolutely pumping. So crude oil, you can trade this on HyperLiquid. It's one of the only crypto sources, and it really was the first crypto source you could actually trade oil on in the market. So HyperLiquid has been a front runner. They brought gold to the market. They brought stocks to the market. They brought crypto perps on chain as a decentralized exchange. Now they brought oil, and they've done $1 billion in oil volume. Absolutely insane. So they are leading the trend when it comes to on-chain trading and allowing crypto native users to utilize their capital in other markets like traditional markets, gold, oil, stocks, etc. So this has been a big deal and a big driving factor to the price action as to what's going on recently with HyperLiquid. Another green day today and up 21% over the course of the weekly time frame. And they come up with these different updates, and HIP4 has options trading for stocks and also prediction markets. You can literally utilize Polymarket, Kalshi, etc. Those style of positions, trades, utilizing prediction markets on HyperLiquid coming up. This is going to be absolutely a game-changing update for HyperLiquid, and it's just going to bring more retail interest into the HyperLiquid ecosystem. So with all of this considered, first and foremost, from a market cap perspective, if we just do a multiples, HyperLiquid as a business would probably, if they sold their company, right? When you look at different valuations from like a SaaS company, if we were to just annualize that and you did a multiple on that revenue, they would probably sell their overall business just off of a basic valuation for more money than their market cap. So first and foremost, as a company, they are undervalued incredibly just based on the revenue and the profit that they are doing. And I also want to go over one huge factor as to why you, maybe a retail participant, someone who's new to crypto, or even an experienced crypto person can get involved with. Out of all of these fees, I'm going to go fees and revenue. We're going to look at the 24 hours. So they have done $2 million in revenue the last 24 hours. They literally put 75% or more of this every single day into buying supply of their own token. This is one of the biggest hacks and unlocks. So not only are they a profitable business, nobody looks at it as, in crypto, there's such thing as extraction. People don't like when projects come in, they make money, they milk their users for profits, and they don't give back. Right? We've seen that with Pump Fund. Let's just say that's a great example. I mean, Pump Fund has done nothing for their people, and they've just milked the space for profits. On the other space, on the other end of the totem pole here, we have HyperLiquid, who is putting back so much money into buying their own token. So every single day, there's $1 million+ in buy pressure just from the company. And what's this is going to matter long term because they're taking supply off the market. This is eventually going to become more scarce over the course of time, driving up that price of HyperLiquid. So not only are they profitable, they are literally putting all of that money right back in to HyperLiquid, which then looks at the competition, right? So we're looking at a price prediction perspective, and we look what's above it. We see Dogecoin at 15 billion, Tron at 27 billion, Solana at 49 billion, USDC at 78 billion, XRP at 84 billion. I think that's the threshold, probably USDC at that 78 billion mark. It would take a lot for us to 8x from here. That's basically what you're looking at from a $9 billion valuation to, let's say, XRPs, but it's about an 8x, 9x from a perspective of market cap. But I do think realistically, you could see a $50 billion circulating market cap from this token at some point in time. I really believe that just off the pace and the trajectory of growth on HyperLiquid, which would put this around that $150 price target. I'm going to put a caveat, though. I think that Arthur Hayes is a little too bullish too quickly. While I do think that this could absolutely eclipse $150 over the long haul, I think in 2026, we need to tamper those expectations just a little bit. And if it's over exceeding my price prediction, then hey, I'm absolutely happy with that. So what will this look like by the end of 2026? And also, where am I basing this math off of? Why do I think this can go to $50 billion market caps? I think these next numbers are going to shock you. And so I've asked Claude, the best AI out there, by the way. If you're not utilizing AI in your workflow, I would definitely recommend it. But looking here, I just asked simply, good morning. Can you give me some insights on HyperLiquid's metrics versus Robinhood? And Robinhood obviously is one of the biggest giants in the traditional finance space. It's probably the most beginner-friendly app for someone to start investing into stock market. And when you see here, they're like, it's a different type of business model, but here are the metrics. So the trading volume for the month on HyperLiquid exceeded $200 billion for both January and February, while rival platforms like Aster and Lighter have seen sharp declines. The fiscal year 2025 trading volume was $2.95 trillion and now has crossed $4 trillion over the course of the platform. The TVL, which is the open interest on the platform, is about 4.5 billion. Well, the open interest itself is 6.3 billion. Total value locked is 4.5 billion. Annualized revenue, like we had mentioned here, of $656 million. Absolutely crazy. It leads all perp dexes. So if you're looking into a perp dex to invest in crypto, this is definitely the one you're going to want to look at. And their revenue model, the protocol revenue has grown 96% in Q3 2025, with Q4 also totaling $290 million, with a team of less than 15 employees. Notably, 99% of the fees flow back to buy the token from the Community Assistance Fund. So this is, I'm not just throwing jargon out there. They are literally just buying back their own token hand over fist. It's currently trading at around $37. Hype is up 23.9% year to date, outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum and roughly matching gold's gains. Do you remember a couple of months ago when people were raving about how gold is in a bull market? This is matching what gold did. So you can see the value there. We can see also the 2025 revenue for Robinhood was, and it's obviously a much bigger company, but just put it in perspective, the growth potential here. The revenue hit $4.5 billion, up 52% year over year. The problem here is the fact, and the Q4 net revenue came in at $605 million. Monthly active users are declining year over year, which is signaling potential engagement headwinds. But we can see here on this comparison chart. So annual revenue, HyperLiquid with a team of 15, and really not a whole lot that goes into this company as far as, expenses, et cetera. They're making $656 million annualized. Thousands of employees on the Robinhood side, they're doing $4.5 billion. So about an 8 to 9x differential there. The trading volume is not disclosed on Robinhood. We see here the amount of users. Obviously, Robinhood is going to have a bigger net, but you can see here they're losing users while HyperLiquid is actually gaining users quarter over quarter. Assets TVL 4.5 billion to 324 billion. You really can't compare that because it's a traditional app. Here's where it gets interesting. Year-to-date stock performance. HyperLiquid's up 23.9%. Robinhood actually declined post earnings. Now, when you look at some of these discrepancies with how bootstrapped and the mechanics of the HyperLiquid token, I think it's very safe to say that this thing could do something like a 3x, a 2.5x over the course of just 2026. It is a high market cap token. I think that 150 from Arthur Hayes is a little bullish. So where am I going to land on my price prediction? Stuff like, what is Robinhood's market cap? $70.84 billion. But in crypto, these things don't really match up. So while we could try to do some sort of a clean comparison here, I think that we have to use a little bit of crypto logic here in the fact that some of these things just don't make sense. I mean, Axie Infinity in 2021 was literally valued higher than Activision. The people who made Call of Duty, Activision, Blizzard, etc., it just didn't make sense, right? So we can't really use that type of logic here when it comes to valuation. So let's just go back, look at the chart. Where do we think 2026, how many tokens or how much dollar value will 1,000 tokens of HyperLiquid be worth? And look, when it comes to crypto in 2026, I mean, HyperLiquid's more relevant than Doge. It's more relevant than Tron. It's probably as relevant as Solana. I think when it comes to XRP, BNB, Ethereum, you're not going to get to those valuations, especially in a short-term period of time. So my realistic price prediction for 2026, I wouldn't be surprised if we see new all-time highs, maybe up to $75, $80 as of this year, which would just be double this market cap. I do believe long-term we could see Arthur Hayes's price prediction of $150 come true. If it happened in 2026, I'd be utterly surprised for a major asset like this to do a 4.5x in the next 5 months. However, we've seen it happen. Stuff like Zcash, Solana a couple years ago went from like $9 to $100 in the blink of an eye. It's definitely not impossible. And with how dominant of a company in crypto HyperLiquid is, this is on the table. I wouldn't be surprised to see a clean 2x from here, though. $75 this year is definitely realistic, especially if Trump heats up around midterms on the crypto conversations. And look, usually the bottom of the overall market is 12 months after the end of the last cycle, which would put us around August to October of 2026. If we could just see a run at the end of the year, I think HyperLiquid could definitely hit new all-time highs, which, by the way, all-time highs, if we just look at the year chart here, are $58. I think we break that this year easily. I think that that's out of the question. Don't give in to, the fear mongering that you're going to see, people saying, don't hold crypto. These are the biggest opportunities. And you can see only 10,000 or 50,000 wallets hold 10 HyperLiquid. So don't give in to any of the fear that you see. Now is the time where money is made, but you have to have long-term conviction. So my prediction, we break all-time highs. I think $75 this year is absolutely realistic. I do think long-term, $150 is absolutely realistic. And I think this market cap is peanuts. If we eclipse the 75 this year, which this market cap would be about $20 billion, I would not be surprised. I mean, I think that HyperLiquid deserves to flip stuff like Dogecoin, eventually potentially get up to this valuation of Tron, which would put it over $100. So that's my price prediction this year. About $75 would put it at a $20 billion circulating market cap. So those 1,000 HyperLiquid tokens could be worth $75,000 this year, or even if you hold 10 HyperLiquid tokens, that would put you at $750, whereas today's value is $370. There is no amount that, is too small. If you want to start investing into crypto during the bear market, this is the time to do it, and isolating the right projects. So this is going to be an ongoing thing. I'm going to go over different types of projects, where I think the price is going, if it's worth accumulating, etc. HyperLiquid, $75 is my prediction by the end of this year. And I do think right now is absolutely the best time to be accumulating strong assets in crypto, just like HyperLiquid, guys. So like the video down below, subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you guys on the next video here on In the Game. As always, stay bullish, my friends, and trade responsibly, my friends.